In today's video, I will be talking about the absolute disgrace, which is the UFC retirement videos. Just recently at UFC Fight Night Kansas, we got Anthony on Paper Smith's retirement video. Now, I am not saying Anthony Smith does not deserve a retirement video for everything that he's done in the sport, but he has not been a champion. He was a top contender for a small period of time, but he is not a massive name. He was not a champion, and he did not deserve this treatment from the UFC when Stipe Miocic is getting nothing from the UFC except from Dana White talking to him in a corner. He's literally just talking to Stipe in a corner after getting knocked out by that body kick by Jones, and then Stipe just leaves. There was no speech, there was no retirement package, there was no video. What is this? Actually, what is this? Because they don't do this for everyone. It feels like, as a UFC fan, the men in the UFC aren't getting the praise that they deserve for the stuff that they're doing. Why is Michelle Waterson getting a retirement video?
I think I've been in the game long enough to not get bothered by.
And it's burning deep in my soul. And I'm
like, mate, this is a whole 3-4 minute video. Where was this for Stipe? Where was this for Stipe, man? Where? It's non-existent. And then there's also Amanda Nunes' recent induction into the Hall of Fame. Well, she already got something. And now she's getting something else. Obviously, she deserves to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Yes, she is one of the ones that, as a women's fighter, deserves a retirement package. We should only really be keeping these for the champions of the division, or the top contenders like Gaethje, Poirier, people like that, fan favourites. So I understand why you did it with Anthony Smith. Even though he's not a fan favourite, people still like him, and he's a nice guy, and he's done a lot for the UFC. But how dare you do this for Michelle Waterson and Anthony Smith, and not Stipe Miocic, the heavyweight GOAT? He beat DC. I know DC also beat him, but he beat DC. He beat Francis Ngannou, mate. He beat the person that Dana hates the most. Obviously, he also got KO'd by him, but still. Surely Dana would be glazing him. Dana's glazing John Jones the whole build-up, glazing Stipe, saying they still got it. Where's the retirement video? Where's the we look after our UFC legends? Only if it helps you out in the perceived vision. Why did you give Michelle Waterson this retirement video? I ask you that. Why? Because it looks good for the UFC, that's it. That's literally it. It paints a better picture, and to be fair, we need that in the UFC because of the people that we have in John Jones and McGregor, the two probably most popular people in the sport, and then you look at what they do. But the UFC and Dana White have been doing this for years. Where was Tony Ferguson's retirement package? I know you let him keep on fighting when you shouldn't have, and you shouldn't have done that, to be fair, but I know he just left suddenly, but there was nothing. He just left. That hasn't even been a post. He just dipped to the GFL, and now that's not even happening. So, what? And then we got Dana here saying,
it drives me crazy when I see these guys write stories about the business. You know what you know about the business? What I tell you. That's what you know.
Great, we know what you tell us about the business. Why are you smiling like that, Dana? What do you know that we don't? That's making me think Dana knows stuff that we don't, mate. Obviously he does. But still, what is this? Why are you smiling like that, Dana? The absolute disgrace. How can they get away with this? Can probably at some point, yeah, Stipe will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. But he didn't get that Anthony Smith treatment with the walkout, feeling it all out, giving a hat to someone, getting in the ring, having that love. He didn't feel that. He just went into the John Jones fight and got told to leave the ring when he lost. What is this absolute disgrace? Stipe's a legend of the sport. Anthony Smith is just a UFC fighter. It is disgraceful. And to say we treat UFC fighters well when you've got Jose Aldo, a UFC legend already inducted into the Hall of Fame, coming back after retirement and his first fight, you're giving him Jonathan Martinez. Yeah, he wins that. He wins against Jonathan Martinez. He was 12, I'm pretty sure at the time, or 11. And then you give him Mario Batista, who's like 10 or 9. What? Why wouldn't you give him a better matchup in Rob Font, Henry Cejudo? There's so many better matchups he could have had in the bantamweight division. Legends matchup, which is matchups that he deserved after beating a 12th ranked, after coming back from retirement and looking good. And then he gets disgracefully Marabed and held against the fence by Mario Batista, even worse than Marab ever did, even though sadly Vogt started that. But what is this disgrace? And now he is booked against Ayman Zahabi. Who's that? Why couldn't you, mate? I'd rather have Rob Font and him again, mate. At least that's a more exciting matchup, a better matchup than what? Ayman Zahabi. Aldo's got 2, maybe 3 fights left. What are you doing? You need to book these legends matchups. Why haven't Henry Cejudo and Jose Aldo fought? Why aren't they fighting? Well, they can. They're in the same division now. Jose Aldo coming off a loss. Henry Cejudo coming off a loss. Near around the same place in the division. Book this fight. Book this fight. What? We do not need Ayman Zahabi, Jose Aldo. And to lead to the disgrace, he wasn't even at the UFC press conference. That probably is because he lives in Brazil and it would have been a faff to get out. But still, the disrespect for the UFC legends, especially in the male divisions, need to stop by the UFC. Why are we glazing all these female fighters for doing nothing? What did Michelle Waterson do? Nothing. Fair enough. Amanda Nunes definitely deserves a Hall of Fame, yeah. But so does Stipe. But let me know what you think. Am I right? Are the UFC being disrespectful and disgraceful towards their legends? Or not? In a bit.